look like that weirdo.
I like to make faces. I feel like it makes people smile. Hello, y'all. I'm Tommy. And this is my lovely fiance, Teresa.
Today we're going to dive deep into the defeo murders in Amityville horror.
Oh. Oh.
Of course, like everything, we got to start from the very beginning.
Of course.
So we're going to talk about the murders first.
Yes, nuts.
Around 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday, November 13th, 1974, 23-year-old Ronald Joseph, or Butch, which I had an uncle named Butch too, defeo Jr. entered Henry's bar in Amityville, Long Island, New York, and declared, "You got to help me. I think my mother and father are shot."
No. Shot. It looks like defeo. DeFeo and a small group of people went to 112 Ocean Avenue, which was located near the bar, and found that DeFeo's parents were dead inside the house. One of the group, DeFeo's friend Joe Yeswit, made an emergency call to the Suffolk County Police, who searched the house and found that 6 members of the same family were dead in their beds. And I bet he's the prime suspect.
No.
He fucking better be.
The victims were Ronald Jr.'s parents, Ronald DeFeo Sr. and Lois, or I guess it's Louise DeFeo, nee Brignate, and his 4 siblings, Don, who was 18, Allison, who was 13, Mark, who was 12, and John Matthew, who was 9. All of the victims had been shot with a .35 caliber lever action Marlin 336C rifle around 3 o'clock in the morning of that day.
How would you not know that that's Louise? That's my freaking middle name.
Oh, I knew this because I'm being a blonde. Nothing against
She acts like
blondes.
she doesn't know my middle name.
Be George Brown.
How dare you?
Oh.
You know my initials. The DeFeo parents had both been shot twice while the children had been killed with single shots. Physical evidence suggested that Louise DeFeo and her daughter Allison were both awake at the time of their deaths. According to Suffolk County Police, the victims were all found lying face down in bed. That's awful.
This is a serious subject.
And I'm trying to lighten the mood. I don't like being sad.
No. The DeFeo family had occupied 112 Ocean Avenue since purchasing it in 1965. The 6 victims were later buried in nearby St. Charles Cemetery in Farmingdale.
Farmingdale, that is the word. Sorry. DeFeo, also known as Butch, was the eldest son of the family. He was taken to the local police station for his own protection after suggesting to police officers at the scene of the crime that the killings had been carried out by a mob hitman, Louis Fellini. Wow.
However, an interview in the station soon exposed serious inconsistencies in his version of events. The following day, he confessed to carrying out the killings himself, and Fellini, the alleged hitman, had an alibi proving he was out of state at the time of the killings. At least there was a Fellini instead of Casey Anthony's son, whatever her name was.
Casey Anthony's.
We'll
That's
get
the
into
mother,
Casey
right?
Anthony. Yeah, Kaylee was the kid.
I thought the kid was Casey and the mother was somebody else.
Just kidding.
You hear about
I'll do
Casey
the
Anthony
case.
so much that it just kind of jumbles in your
Because
head.
there's been some updates to her. She's a lovely mother too. So cute.
DeFeo told the detectives, "Once I started, I just couldn't stop. It went so fast. He had taken a bath and redressed and detailed where he discarded crucial evidence, such as bloodstained clothes and the Marlin rifle and cartridges before going to work as usual." Wow.
DeFeo's DeFeo's trial began on October 14th, 1975. Wow. Wait, is today October 14th?
Tomorrow's October 14th. Today's the 13th.
He and his defense lawyer, William Weber, mounted an affirmative defense of insanity, with Defeo claiming that he killed his family in self-defense because he had heard their voices plotting against him. That's not psychotic.
Well, that's why he was going for the mental disability thing. Not disability. What's the word? Mental...
Defense?
Defense, yeah. He's crazy. The insanity plea, that's what it is. The insanity plea was supported by the psychiatrist for the defense, Daniel Schwartz. Psychiatrist for the prosecution, Dr. Harold Zolan, maintained that although DeFeo was a user of heroin and LSD, he had antisocial personality disorder and was aware of his actions at the time of the crime.
It was the 60s. Who wasn't?
My mother, who was born in the 60s, so she couldn't quite do that.
I'm not saying everybody in the 60s was high, but I'm insinuating. No, just kidding. On November 24th, 1975, Defeo was found guilty on 6 counts of second-degree murder.
Ooh. On December 4th, 1975, Judge Thomas Stark sentenced DeFeo to 6 concurrent sentences of 25 years to life. Do you know how long that is?
Huh?
Do you know how long that is?
25 years. What?
6 consecutive
six.
I mean, 6 concurrent sentences? Concurrent would be all at the same time, right?
Well, no, they're one after the other.
I thought consecutive was one after the other.
Maybe that's all of it.
So concurrent would be all at the same time. And consecutive would be 150 years.
So life.
25 is supposed to be life, but that's back when life consisted of 35 years of your life. So if you were in prison as an adult, you were really going to die in prison. Now you can get out.
There's people that have gotten out with life sentences.
That's what I'm saying. Now with 25 years is not life anymore because some people live to be in their 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do your 25 and get out.
Defeo is currently held in Sullivan Correctional Facility in the town of Phillipsburg, New York, and all of his appeals and requests to the parole board to date have been denied.
Ooh. Of course there are conspiracies. All 6 victims were found face down in their beds with no sign of a struggle. The police investigation concluded that the rifle had been fitted with a sound suppressor and found no evidence of sedatives having been administered, as initially thought, leading to speculation that someone in the house should have been awakened by the noise of the gunshots. Not if it was silenced. All you'd hear is a pew.
I was going to say, there's a little bit of a sound, but not much.
You could, you could think that that's something else, because all it is like a pew sound.
Yeah, there's not really much of it.
I mean, even at its loudest, a sound suppressor makes just enough noise for you to maybe hear it in the other bed as something more than just a sound that's like something flying across the room.
Police officers and the medical examiner who attended the scene were initially puzzled by the speed and scale of the killings and considered the possibility that more than one person had been responsible for the crime. Neighbors did not report hearing any gunshots being fired, and those who were awake at the time of the murders simply heard the family's sheepdog, Shaggy, barking. I want a sheepdog named Shaggy.
Of course you do. DeFeo had a volatile relationship with his father, and the motive for the killings remains unclear. He asked police what he had to do in order to collect on his father's life insurance, which prompted the prosecution to suggest at trial that his motive was to collect on the life insurance policies of his parents. I'm sorry, you wait until after you've been acquitted? Right? If
ask now.
let's say that he did kill his parents for the insurance money. Either way, it doesn't matter, but you wait until you've been acquitted before you ask that stupid question. Because if you haven't been acquitted, they're just going to be like, oh, well, that's the motive.
Or at least wait a year so it doesn't sound so like...
Right. Give yourself time, dude.
I've been grieving, but
because
now I want my...
if you were the one that killed them, you're definitely not getting the life insurance policy.
Alright, since his conviction, Defeo has given several varying accounts of how the killings were carried out. In an 1986 interview for Newsday, Defeo claimed his sister Dawn killed their father and then their distraught mother killed all of his siblings before he killed his mother. He said that he took the plan because he was afraid to say anything negative about his mother to his father, Michael Brignett Sr., and his father's uncle out of fear that they would kill him. His father's uncle was Pete Defeo, a Capricorni. Sorry, we had a friendship all of a sudden.
As blue.
And FYI, man, when we ask for a donation, doesn't mean next week's gonna be okay.
Oh, yeah.
God, we don't ovulate every day. Anyway, I had to.
Maybe we should do one on asking for donors.
Yes, Steven.
We're trying to get pregnant, y'all. Got to do it when we ovulate, which is once a month.
Not whenever you feel like it.
Yeah.
Anyways, Capricorni and the Genovese crime family. Blah, 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 blah.
Would you pick up the baby so she'll stop mowing? Oh.
You little turd.
In this interview, DeFeo also asserted he was married at the time of the murders to a woman named Geraldine. What a name. With whom he was living in New Jersey at the time, and that his mother phoned to ask him to return to Amityville, to break up a fight between Dawn and their father, and that he drove to Amityville with Geraldine's brother, Richard Raimondo, and that Raimondo was with him at the time. Yeah, Amityville.
You say it weird.
You say it weird.
I say it how they say it on TV.
I don't care how they say it on TV. I don't give a shit.
Mama's crazy.
And that Raimondo was with him at the time of the murders and could verify his story completely. Okay, but I have trouble saying it the way you say it. Say it.
Amityville?
Amityville? Amityville? That's how you say it. For some reason, I can't ever remember how to say it like that.
Ready, kitty? Help me read. In 1990,
Meow,
Ronald
meow.
Defeo
Meow,
Jr.
meow.
filed a 440 motion, a proceeding to have his conviction vacated. In support of his motion, Defeo asserted that Don and his unknown assailant, who fled the house before he could get a good look at him, killed their parents, and Don subsequently killed their siblings. He said the only person he killed was Dawn, and it was by accident as they struggled over the rifle. Again, he asserted he was married to Geraldine and that her brother was with him at the time of the murders.
This pretty little kitty right here. This is Hermione.
Let's put a picture of her in the last video.
Yes, but isn't she pretty? Lovely subscribers. Tell us how pretty she is. She's got one white paw. She's so cute.
She's got no tail.
It's a stub. It was not cut off. She was born that way. Just to let you know. An affidavit from Richard Raimondo was submitted to the court and it was asserted that he could not be located to testify in person. Evidence was submitted by the court by the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office suggesting that Richard Raimondo did not exist and that Geraldine Gates was living in upstate New York married to someone else at the time of the murders. Well, that kind of screws his story, doesn't it? Let's think about this. If she was married to somebody else, and Raimondo doesn't even exist, then he's insane! Put him in the loony bin.
Geraldine Gates did not testify at this hearing because the authorities had already confronted her about the false claims, and in 1992 secured a statement under oath when she admitted Raimondo was fictitious and that she didn't actually marry Defeo until 1989 in anticipation of the filing of a 440 motion.
I have a parrot, y'all. Look at her.
Maybe
Isn't she
can help you
adorable?
read that long thing.
Oh, good Lord. It's a good thing I'm good at reading. Judge Stark denied the motion, writing, I find the testimony of the defendant overall to be false and fabricated. His testimony that during the fall of 1974 he was married and lived with his wife and child at Long Branch, New Jersey is incredible and not worthy of belief. He produced no corroborating evidence in this regard. Another reason for my disbelief of the defendant's testimony is demonstrated by consideration of, several portions of the trial testimony. Sorry, she's clawing my back. Babe, get her off. She's going my back.
Oh, you get to mama.
He signed a lengthy written statement describing in detail his activities. In this statement, he said that he lived with his family at 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville. I said it right. And that he worked for his father. That he usually went to and from work with his father. That he was ill and stayed home from work on November 12, 1974. That he was on probation for having stolen an outboard engine and had an appointment to see his probation officer in Amityville on that very afternoon. Defendant's girlfriend, Mindy Weiss, testified that she began dating the defendant in June of 1974 and was with him frequently that summer and fall. Stark further declared, defendant's testimony that he did not shoot and kill the members of his family is likewise incredible and not worthy of belief. I don't think the judge believes him.
Kitty.
Hermione.
Help me. On November 30th, 2000, Ronald Defeo met with Rick Azuna, the author of The Night on the Defoes Died,
Why are you chewing on Mommy's hand?
which was published in 2002. According to Azana, they spoke for about 6 hours. However, in a letter to the radio show host, Lou Gentile, Defeo Jr. denied giving Rick Azana information that could be used in his book, claiming that he immediately left the interview and did not speak to Azana about anything
Substantive. I don't think she should be chewing on that. The blue stuff is coming off in her mouth.
Ew. It's probably got lead in it.
Probably. And you're wearing it.
It's from those coin machines.
Yeah.
You know how that,
When did you get it?
a long time.
Then it's probably got lead in it.
That's the question.
According to Osuna, Defeo Jr. claimed that he had committed the murders, and his sister Dawn and two friends, Augie DeJaneiro and Bobby Kelsky, out of desperation because his parents had plotted to kill him. Allegedly, Ronald claimed that after a furious row with his father, he and his sister planned to kill their parents and that Dawn murdered the children in order to eliminate them as witnesses. He said that he was enraged on discovering his sister's actions, knocked her unconscious onto her bed, and shot her in the head. Police found traces of unburned gunpowder on Dawn's nightgown, which Defeo proponents allege proves she discharged a firearm. Well, that's a plot twist for you.
However, at trial, the ballistics expert Alfred Della Pena testified that
Is that good paper?
unburned gunpowder is discharged through the muzzle of her weapon, indicating that she was in proximity
Yeah.
to the muzzle of the weapon when it was discharged, and not that she fired the weapon. She reiterated this. He reiterated this on an A&E Amityville documentary that is extensively discussed in Will Savvy's Mentally Ill in Amityville.
Ow! Okay, so Viv had an expert evaluate Della Pena's assessment, and the expert confirmed that he was correct. Moreover, the medical examiner found nothing to indicate that Dawn had been in a struggle. The bullet wound was the only fresh mark on her body.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun!
Intermission.
Here you are, my love. I was trying to be nice.
Alright, Joe Nickel notes that given the frequency with which Ronald Defeo has changed his story over the years, any new claims from him regarding the event that took place on the night of the murder should be approached with caution. Should be appreciated with caution.
Most of the claims made in Rick Osuna's book are sourced to Ronald Defeo Jr.'s ex-wife, Geraldine Gates. While in the 1986 interview with Newsday, she asserted she married Defeo in 1974. In Osuna's book, she alleges they married in 1970. Their 1993 divorce case says that they met in 1985, married in 1989, and divorced in 1983. So nobody's telling the goddamn truth.
Did we know when they got married?
Ow!
Rick Osuna's book was adapted into a docudrama titled
Docudrama
titled Shattered Hopes, the true story
Ow.
of Amityville
Ow!
murders. The film, released on December 16, 2001, was written and directed by and produced by Ryan Katzenbach, and featuring narration by veteran actor Ed Asner, examines all aspects of the Amityville case with a strong focus on the Defoe's family and the events surrounding their murders.
Ow! Okay, now that we talked about the murders that took place before the classic story of what happened in the house to cause a whole family to allegedly flee from their home, let's get into the haunting story. Bring on the fun.
In December 1975, George and Kathy Lutz and their 3 children moved into the house. After 28 days, Lutz left the house, claiming to have been terrorized by paranormal phenomena while living there.
The book, purportedly based on a true story, describes the house at 112 Ocean Avenue as remaining empty for 13 months after the DeFeo's murder.
In December 1975, George and Kathleen Lutz bought the house at what was considered to be a bargain price of $80,000. The 5-bedroom house was built in Dutch colonial style and had a distinctive gambrel roof. It also had a swimming pool and a boathouse, as it was located on a canal, for $80,000.
Yeah, because people were murdered in it.
I wouldn't care if somebody was murdered in it. People died.
Yeah, but that's because of you. You have no problem with that. Other people have a problem with that. George and Kathy married in July of 1975 and each had their own homes, but they wanted to start fresh with a new property.
Me too.
Me too. Here.
Kathy had 3 children from her previous marriage: Daniel 9, Christopher 7, and Melissa or Missy 5.
What are you doing, pretty
They also
girl?
owned a crossbred Malamute Labrador dog named Henry.
What, pretty girl?
Don't jump.
During their first inspection of the house, the real estate broker told them about the DeFeo murders and asked if this would affect their decision. After discussing the matter, they decided that it was not a problem. Sure you want to read that tiny little thing?
Well, it's a different point. And
Okay.
Lutz's family moved in December 1975. December 1975.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Much of the DeFeo's family furniture was still in the house because it was included for $400 as part of the deal. Yes, let's keep the murder furniture as well as move into the murder
If
house.
they cut the bloody beds.
Oh my god. I wouldn't.
A friend of George Lutz learned about the history of the house and insisted of having it blessed. At the time, George was a non-practicing Methodist and had no experience of what this would entail.
I would smudge the shit out of that place.
The thing is, when you bless something, you have to bless it in the religion that you firmly believe in, because you have to believe in it, just like prayer. You have to believe that it works before it'll work.
Right. If you don't believe it, then it's...
So, him blessing the house.
That's like me praying to Allah. I don't believe in Allah, but if I did, it would make more sense.
Yeah. Like, I can't pray in a Catholic religion and have it work.
Right.
Isn't what I believe
in. Hi, pretty girl. Kathy was a non-practicing Catholic and explained the process. George knew a Catholic priest, named Father Ray, who agreed to carry out the house blessing. In Anson's book, Real Life Priest, Father Ralph J. Picaro is referred to as Father Mancuso for privacy reasons. That would be why it was called that in the movie, probably, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But, like, she's not even a practicing Catholic anymore. In other words, she
And
probably
he's-
doesn't believe in it.
And he wasn't a practicing Methodist, so...
No wonder why the place is still haunted and not blessed. Father Mancuso was a lawyer, judge of the Catholic court, and psychotherapist who lived at the local Sacred Heart rectory. That's psychotherapist and a priest? That seems like... Weird. He arrived to perform the blessing while George and Kathy were unpacking their belongings. On the afternoon of December 18th, 1975, I went into the building to carry out the rites. You still can't bless a house when the house is in disarray. You have to have it completely empty or have all your stuff put away and have it not in disarray.
I would have had the place blessed before I moved my shit in.
But even then, though, you're bringing your stuff in that could be cursed as it is. It's just better to
Get yourself all settled in and then do it, yeah?
maybe not move yourself in yet.
When he flicked the first holy water and began to pray, he heard a masculine voice demand that he get out. When leaving the house, Father Mancuso did not mention this incident to either George or Kathy. Of course. Why tell them what you heard?
On December 24th, 1975, Father Mancuso
Father.
called George Lutz and advised him to stay out of the second floor room where he had heard the mysterious voice, the former bedroom of Mark and John Matthew defeo that Kathy planned to use as a sewing room, but the call was cut short by static.
Ooh.
Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Did fly on the floor?
Following his visit to the house, Father Mancuso allegedly developed a high fever and blisters on his hands similar to stigmata. Stigmata. Now there's a good movie. Stigmata.
It actually happens. There's people that have
Whether you believe or not, if you believe extremely or believe the opposite extremely, you can still get stigmata. Did you know that? Pretty interesting, actually.
At first, George and Kathy experienced nothing unusual in the house. Talking about their experiences, subsequently they reported that it was as if they were each living in a different house.
That sounds odd as hell. Some of the experiences of the Lutz family at the house are described in the book as follows. What she's going to say.
So, George would wake up around 3:15 every morning and would go out to check this boathouse. Later, he would learn that this was the estimated time of the defeo's killings.
So why did he wake up at that time?
Besides, it's about the end of witching hour.
The house was plagued by swarms of flies despite the winter weather.
Kathy had vivid nightmares about the murders and discovered the order in which they occurred and the rooms where they took place. The Lutz children also began sleeping on their stomachs in the same way that the dead bodies in the defeo murders had been found.
Oh yeah, because that makes it all better, doesn't it? Let's leave now! Kathy would feel a sensation as if being embraced in a loving manner by an unseen force. And that's the last time that happens.
Daddy Defeo is getting a little kinky with Mama Lutz.
I'd be like, honey, we're leaving. All of us, right now. Leave the shit. Let's just go.
George discovered a small hidden room around 4 feet by 5 feet behind shelving in the basement. The walls were painted red, and the room did not appear in the blueprints of the house. The room came to be known as the Red Room. This room had a profound effect on the dog Harry, who refused to go near it and cowered as if sensing something ominous. Oh, yeah.
There were cold spots and odors of perfume and excrement in areas of the house where no wind drafts or piping would explain the source. That's nuts.
Whilst tending to the fire, George and Kathy saw the image of a demon with half his head blown out. It was burned into the soot in the back of the fireplace.
That's a little scary. The Lutz's 5-year-old daughter, Missy, developed an imaginary friend, quotation marks,
Sorry, imaginary friends are usually ghosts, you guys, just so you know.
named Jody. A demonic pig-like creature with glowing red eyes. Holy fuck, I'd be terrified at 5. Like, what the hell is that thing?
In the early morning hours of Christmas Day, 1975, George looked up at the house after checking on the boathouse and saw Jody, standing beside Missy at her bedroom window. When he ran up to her room, he found her fast asleep with her small rocking chair slowly rocking back and forth. In other words, his daughter was having an out-of-body experience with Jody. My little sister used to be able to do that, but it was creepy. You'd like see glimpses of her crawling. You're like, what the fuck?
I've done it a couple of times. Where are we? Up here? That's not how you handed it to me. George would wake up to the sound of the front door slamming. He would race downstairs to find the dog sleeping soundly at the front door. Nobody else heard the sound, although it was loud enough to wake the entire house. Yeah, because that's not creepy.
George would hear what was described as marching band tuning up, or what sounded like a clock radio playing, not quite on frequency. When he went downstairs, the noise would cease.
Cease. Cease. Cease is something different than cease.
I ceased to ignore you.
You're gonna cease to ignore me when my fist hits your face. I would never do that. George realized that he bore a strong resemblance to Ronald DeFeo Jr. and began drinking at the Witch's Brew, the bar where DeFeo was once a regular customer.
I want to go to the Witch's Brew. This is like for Harry Potter.
I want to call our house the Witch's Brew.
We better get some alcohol.
Huh?
So then we better get some alcohol. When closing Missy's window, which Missy and said Jody climbed out of, Kathy saw red eyes glowing at her.
Ooh, even better, the cauldron.
The leaky cauldron.
No, just the cauldron. I don't want to get sued.
Don't sue us, J.K. Rowling. We love you.
We really do. A lot.
Besides Stephen King, one of our favorites. Just don't sue us.
Yes, please don't sue us. While in bed, Kathy received red welts on her chest caused by an unseen force and was levitated 2 feet in the air.
I was going to say, how far is 2 feet, babe?
That's a lot. That's a lot. That's like a 4-year-old, right? That's a 4-year-old off the bed. That's like from the bed to the floor for most people, you know? That's a lot.
Locked doors and windows in the house were damaged by unseen forces.
Dun dun dun. There it is. Cloven hoof prints attributed to an enormous pig appeared in the snore.
The snore?
Appeared in the snow outside the house on January 1st, 1976. Show your face. My dentures moved. You don't help that. Read.
Green gel